After launching into full-time world travel at the beginning of the year, we had visited 15 countries in the first 3 months, and we knew it was time to slow our roll.
So we shifted gears and did our first time slow travel stay in Porto, Portugal.
During those 10 days, we were able to savor and explore this European city known for stunning views, tiled architecture, and its famous wine.
We'll cover key things you need to know about visiting. How much did it cost us? And was Porto the amazing travel destination that other YouTubers rave about?
Or was it just another overhyped location for new full-time travelers like us?
Welcome to Porto!
We are Robert and Jill, an early retired Gen X couple who sold everything we own to travel the world full-time. Our journeys around the globe will bring you stories about the people we meet, the places we go, and what happens when we get there.
When we were planning our first leg of world travel, Porto was high on our list after seeing dozens of YouTube videos about how amazing it looked.
Between the river, bridges, architecture, and of course wine, we knew that Porto was a place that we wanted to not only visit, but spend extended time in.
After completing 3 months of cruising and our last spot being landing in Barcelona, Spain, with Portugal right next door, it just made sense to put Porto on this year's itinerary.
The question was, had we just fallen in love with all of the Instagram hype, or was this city going to be as remarkable as we'd hoped it would be?
So where is Porto? Porto is in the country of Portugal, on its western coast and next to Spain in Europe. The Douro River divides Porto from the area of Gaia, though most people refer to this general area as simply Porto.
We arrived in Porto's airport having taken a quick hour-and-a-half direct flight on Ryanair from Barcelona, Spain in April of this year.
Let's cover some things you're going to need to know about arrival in Portugal. Number 1, you'll need to have a passport. Number 2, you do not need a visa if you're from the United States or Canada. Now, the Schengen rule is in effect, so remember, you can only stay in the Schengen area of Europe 90 out of every 180 days. Currently, the entry-exit system, EES, is in operation, which means that they're going to check your passport, take your photo, and use fingerprints. Later, in 2026, they're going to be transitioning to the European Travel Information Authorization System, ETIAS. So make sure you watch closely about those changes.
Arrival at the Porto airport was quick and easy. It was well marked, there were signs in English, so we were quickly able to find our way to baggage claim. Our bags came quickly, so we grabbed those, headed outside. Again, super easy to find taxis, and we grabbed a taxi and headed to the hotel.
Besides taxis outside, you could also order a Bolt, which was very popular, we found, in many European countries. And we used it basically like Uber. We paid cash for our taxi ride of 22 euros, or essentially $24.55 from the airport to our hotel.
We stayed at the Holiday Inn Express Porto Boa Vista. And the primary reason we stayed there is because it is an IHG property, so we were able to use our points. We got a king standard room with a free breakfast, and it was 14,000 points a night.
So with the free breakfast, it definitely saved us some money on our overall budget, which again is coming at the end of this video.
The hotel was located just a couple blocks from the Casa de Musica, and it was about a 15-20 minute Bolt Uber ride or a 45-minute walk down to the main tourist area by the river. In Porto, of course, there are so many things to see and do. So what we do to figure out what we're going to go see is we come up with a list of the places we want to go, food we want to try, the attractions we want to go visit, and we make a list of them.
Now, to help us with all that, one of the key things we use throughout our stay in Europe is Google Maps. Now, on Google Maps, you can place little icons at different locations that you want to go to. So we would find a location we wanted to go, and I would mark it with the little green flag that says, I want to go there. And then once we've gone and saw that location, we would change it to the heart icon to indicate that we had already been there. This allowed us to kind of keep track of what we'd seen and we hadn't seen.
The other advantage we found to making those green flags on the map is that then we can literally see where everything is that we want to go visit. And then it's easy to plan our route and our day based upon where things are located. So we know we can go over to this area and we'll hit these, 3 or 4 or 5 different things. So that is a way that we've really honed in on staying organized about what we want to go see. So one of the very first things we wanted to do in Porto was something we'd seen months and months before we even started traveling, and that was doing a port wine tasting sunset river cruise. So we went ahead and booked that, and that was something we were looking forward to all the way until the night that actually happened.
Now, whether you take that river cruise or not, understand that there are 2 sides of the Douro River, one in the Porto area, one in the Gaia area, and there is a riverwalk area on both sides, very, very close to that fabulous structural bridge there. And you get really the best views we found from the Gaia side, not the Porto side. On the Porto side, there's a bunch of restaurants, a lot of people. Some of the river cruises leave from that side. Over on the Gaia side, you have the cable cars, you've got some restaurants, you have the World of Wine over there and a number of museums. And we found that the Gaia side was a little less crowded and definitely the place that we kind of felt the vibe better, and you get the best views from that side. So you're looking at Porto, but you're technically on the Gaia side.
Also on the Gaia side is a cool sculpture. I believe it's Halbert Haas. I probably didn't say the name quite right, but it is of a rabbit. And you have to look for it. It's down a side street and it's on the corner of a building. And when you walk up to it, it looks as if it's painted on the building, but when you get closer, it's actually a sculpture with a multitude of different materials that create this, what would you, two-story?
Yeah, two-story, three-dimensional.
Yeah, three-dimensional
rabbit.
Yeah, it is super cool. It's not very far from the riverbank, so it is definitely worth, I don't know, it was not even a 5-minute walk back in the streets to go see this rabbit sculpture.
Portugal is primarily a Catholic country, so there are a lot of cathedrals dotted throughout Porto. We saw a number of those churches there as we walked around the area, and they were just so beautiful. They have that amazing tile on a lot of them outside. And it was just a beautiful thing to see, and of course free from the outside.
Now, any trip to Porto is not complete unless you take a ride on one of the iconic trams. So there are 2 tracks that run from one end of the riverfront to the other on the Porto side. And there are these cable trams, and there's different colored trams, and they're kind of old school looking and very charming. And it is inexpensive to get a ticket. You just hop on and you take it all the way down to one end of the riverfront, get off, walk across the track to the other side, and go back. And it was super, super fun and kitschy to go on this little tram ride along the riverfront. While we were riding the tram, we saw on the inside of the tram was a little hangar that provided a free ticket to the tram museum. We didn't know about that. That was a little pleasant surprise.
When it comes to free, it's the Philbrooks are all about the free stuff, right? I probably would have even paid for the museum, but the Porto Tram Museum is well worth seeing. Yes, you've just rode a bunch of different ones, but the Porto Tram Museum kind of takes you through the history of transportation there in Porto from kind of the turn of the 1800s into the 1900s and on. And it was just a really cool spot, lots of different eras of trams, lots of interesting things to see. And it was just a wonderful visit, wandering around, seeing all the different ways the trams evolved over the years to what they are now on the outside.
It was a pleasant surprise. We also discovered there are a couple different mercados that we went to that are really worth the visit. The first is on the Gaia side, and it's Mercado Barrio. I'm not sure if I said that right, but it's just tucked away. It's a building, and you walk in, and there's a number of different local restaurants. So you can go in. I want to say it's like a food court, but that diminishes the. It's
essentially a food court, but it's way better than that.
It's way better than that, and you can get a bunch of different kinds of food. You can get fruit, wine, and it was just a lovely way to get a quick bite to eat. Then on the Porto side is the, I guess I can say infamous Mercado Bahia, Ohio.
Infamous?
I don't know.
Makes it sound like a bad thing.
No, it's like, you got to go see it.
It's famous.
It's famous. Infamous. Anyway, it's a great little market. We went over there for an afternoon, and that is, 4 times the size of the little restaurant one on the Gaia side. And there you can go, and there are stalls with fruits, vegetables, dates,
flowers,
beer and wine, nuts, like anything you can imagine. It's even just to go and walk and look, and it's very colorful and lively and fragrant. So we went down there and we just walked up and down the aisles. We ended up getting something to eat and drink, looked at fruit. It was really, I think too, that was worth going to. It doesn't cost anything to get there or to get in. And there were quite a few people there, but it was still lively and colorful and vibrant, and a great way to spend a couple hours in the afternoon.
Generally close to where the market is where the Porto City Hall is, this beautiful building there, and in front of it is the Porto sign. So if you're one of those people who likes to go and get your picture next to the place that you visited, this is definitely your spot. You work your way down a little bit, and you will find the very Instagrammable, hyped Imperial McDonald's, often referred to as one of the most beautiful McDonald's in the world.
Would you say it's infamous?
I would say, though, it's definitely overhyped. It was very cool. It's got this eagle outside the front of it. One of the coolest things that we encountered, at least one of the 2 times we were by it, was there was a falconer outside, making sure, I guess, the pigeons didn't totally take over the front.
Yeah, we're standing there, and I turned and I said, "Is that a falcon over there?"
Yeah. If you're short on time, we tended to vote the Imperial McDonald's as a little overhyped. Now, walking down further towards the riverfront from that location, you may be wanting to see the Palacio da Bolsa. Now, this is a beautiful building, magnificent interior, lots of interesting things about where kind of the city kind of fathers kind of planned the city, it seemed, back in the day. And it's very, very beautiful inside, but it does cost a fair amount of money to get into. I think it was $38 per person
that
US.
sounds about right.
And though it was very, very beautiful, I think we would chalk that one up to also being a little overhyped.
Yeah, I think they still have some governmental meetings in that building.
Yes,
and the
that's
one
right.
thing that was cool was it's not officially called, but it's called the Wow Room.
Yeah.
And it is a wow. But all in all, I think it was a short tour and a little overpriced.
We didn't feel the value was there. Now, across from Palacio del Bosa is a beautiful monument there. And it is really intricate. There's a lion, there's sculptures, and it's just a beautiful little spot. And again, those things are free. The one thing that we really found about Porto was there was so much to see there, so many little nuanced things, especially in the down touristy area. You could just continually walk around and constantly see a ton of things that were just interesting to photograph, view, enjoy, and hang out by.
So I think all in all, we were pleasantly surprised that there is so much to do and so much of it is free. A lot of it is just walking around and looking at things. There is no shortage of beautiful things to look at between Porto and Gaia. And even though we saw a lot of stuff, there were a couple things that we decided to skip. One of the things we did skip were the cable cars on the Gaia side. We saw them there, and after looking at how much it cost, and it was actually a very short distance that it went, it just didn't seem to be worth the price for us. So we chose not to do that. The other place we had thought we were going to go, but ultimately decided not to, was Livraria Lello, and that is dubbed the world's most beautiful bookstore. And if you look it up online, it certainly does look like the world's most beautiful bookstore. However, we had heard from multiple people that it was very crowded. There were lines to get in. You had to pay to get in. Now, if you ended up buying something there, that entrance fee came off the price of whatever you purchased. But we also heard that the books there, of course, are in Portuguese and Spanish. So it just seemed to us a lot of effort and a lot of people to look at a bookstore.
If you've caught some of our other videos, you know we're big fans of the hop-on, hop-off bus. We chose not to do that this time in Porto. We felt like we'd done a lot of research. We had a slightly different plan, and we had 10 full days. So we didn't feel like we needed a hop-on, hop-off bus this time to give us our best orientation to the city.
So the food we had while we were in Porto was always an adventure. Because we were staying in the hotel, we had no kitchenette and we had no refrigerator. Anytime we wanted to eat or grab something to drink, we had to go out and find it. We did go to some restaurants close to where our hotel was. And one of the things that we found we had to keep in mind was, of course, our budget. We had to find a place that was within walking distance, that had decent ratings. I tried to look for 4.5 stars or more, again, on Google Maps, and then see if we could read the menu, if we could figure out how to get there. And so that really drove where we ate. But we were able to have enough food to keep us sustained while we were there for sure. Across the street from the hotel was also a little market. So we went there a couple different times just to stock up on some water and tea and some snacks. And then when we went out, of course, Coke Zero and wine seemed to be the beverages of choice. Of course, you can't go to Porto without having pastel de nata, the famous dessert. It is probably one of the best things I've ever eaten. And gosh, we had quite a few of those while we were there. Even found a cute little shop that sold those at the recommendation of some friends. So that is something we enjoyed immensely. And of course, port wine. Porto is where port wine is from. I'm not a big fan of port wine, and I was told it's because I've never had it in Porto, and I would have to say that's true. So we did manage to do a port wine tasting over on the Gaia side, and that was a lovely way to spend the afternoon. We spent some other afternoons getting, of course, gelato. It seems like that was one of the themes of our whole first leg. So we found no shortage of gelato either on the Porto or Gaia side. So one of the common misconceptions, and quite frankly, one of our concerns, is friends. When you sell everything you own to start traveling the world, of course you say, see you later to many of your established friends, and you wonder, gosh, is it just going to be us from here on out? But that, we found, couldn't be further from the truth. Through the power of social media and connections, we were able to meet up with two other couples that we quickly became fast friends.
A couple of months before we got to Porto, we connected with another couple that had just started their YouTube journey and were running about 4 or 5 months right behind us. And that is Brian and Jody from the YouTube channel Slow Compass Travel. We had a wonderful time hanging out down by the Douro River with Brian and Jody and getting to know them, getting to know their story, them getting to know our story, talking about what it was like to launch into world travel, a little bit about trying to run a YouTube channel. It was just a wonderful time making these great new friends of ours. If you get a chance, we do recommend checking out their channel.
We also had the opportunity to meet up with Charlotte and Mike, another couple that has started to travel full-time from Austin, Texas. And the four of us belong to a free Facebook group, the Retirement Travelers Community. And I had posted that we were going to be in Porto. She messaged and said, hey, we're going to be there at the same time. So a couple months and a number of messages later, we got to meet up with them. We had some lunch. We got gelato. We had a port wine tasting together, and we just kept in touch during our stay there. We had made plans to get together again. I wasn't feeling well, so unfortunately that didn't happen. But certainly our 10 days in Porto brought us 4 new friends.
We have some additional thoughts about our 10-day stay here in Porto. So where we stayed was great for our budget, not as good for touring. We felt it was a little too far away. And though the 45-minute walk would have been fine, it didn't leave for a lot of spontaneity to go and see things. The neighborhood that we were in, Boa Vista, was very limited on interesting things to see. There was the Casa de Musica, there was a park, but other than that, it was just essentially some restaurants, housing, the typical things that you would find in the city. Not a lot of interesting things to see in Boa Vista. If we were to do it again and we didn't need to save the money, we certainly would have stayed much closer to the Douro River.
So as we mentioned earlier, our hotel room, while fine, didn't have a kitchenette or even a small refrigerator. So we had hoped we were going to be able to have some breakfast food and other items in our room, but we were not able to do that. So that was a bit of a challenge that we found too, having to go out and forage for food. Each day. We did go to a grocery store, which was within walking distance. I mentioned the market, so that did help. The free breakfast at the hotel was certainly very helpful, especially with our budget. But again, I think if we were to do it over for that length of a stay, we'd make sure that we had at least a refrigerator in the room.
With 10 days in Porto and a lot to see there, we wanted to stay local for that reason. So because of that, we skipped any kind of out of the area day trips.
We also knew that we wanted to take those 10 days and have some admin time, some downtime. We had to do laundry. We had some phone calls to make, and YouTube to do. So we really wanted and felt like we needed a little bit of downtime. And so that was another reason why we decided to slow it down there in Porto. Now, there's certainly a number of things to do. We did miss a lot. There's a lot of things we didn't do, primarily because the purpose of this stay was, as we've just explained. But I think we could easily go back and spend 3 to 4 weeks there. There's a plenty of day trips, little overnight trips. We didn't even get to the beaches. So definitely plenty to do and see for more than 10 days in Porto.
So question, we stayed 10 days. What if somebody can't stay that long? Do you think Porto's still worth visiting?
Oh, absolutely. I do. I think even if you were going to do, a long weekend, maybe a 3 to 5 day stay, definitely it's worth it. It is so beautiful. There is a lot to do. And if you stay closer to the river and that downtown area, you can kind of do the major things that you would go to Porto to do. And so I think it's a great destination, whether you want to stay a weekend or a month.
All right. So the question everybody's wondering is, how much did this cost? So we stayed in Porto, arriving on April 1st and actually departing on April 11th, but we're calling it a 10-day cost. Our airfare from Barcelona to Porto was $329.44. We flew on Ryanair using their Flexi Plus and 2 checked bags for that price.
So our accommodations were the best part of the whole budget because they cost us nothing. We did use our IHG points for the whole stay. However, calculating the cost of the points, when you use your points with IHG, if you stay for 3 nights, you get your 4th night free. So for this stay, if you average it out over the time we stayed, it would have averaged to $70.50 per night.
Our local transportation, which for us in this case included taxis and Bolts, came to a total of $101.80.
Our restaurant cost came to $567.25. And I would say on average, we went out to eat twice a day with some gelato and pastry thrown in for fun.
Sightseeing costs for the 10-day equaled $203.84, with a large portion of that going for that Sunset River cruise.
Our groceries, which were minimal, came to $44.65.
And our final category is miscellaneous, was $80.77. And that was for our laundry and for your 1-week gym membership at a local gym near the hotel. So our total cost for Porto was $1,328 or $132.80 per day, which puts us under budget of our $165 target.
So we really enjoyed our 10 days in Porto, and the fact that we came in under budget made it even that much better, which was good because after Porto, we were heading over to Paris, France, and we were meeting up with 2 very good friends to share the City of Lights with them as well as Disney Paris.
Make sure you like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. We've got some amazing stuff coming up as we wrap up this first leg of travel and then head into even more travel towards the end of the year. Leave a comment below about what you think about Porto. Is it someplace you want to go? Have you been there? What were the things that you liked about it?
We're also very active on our social media. You can find us on Facebook at Our Retirement Reinvented, and also on Instagram, same name, at Our Retirement Reinvented. There we are updated with what we're doing, where we currently are, and we've got a little active interactions going on there. So be sure to follow us over there.
If you'd like to know how we got to Europe, you may want to check out this video, Bougie or Bust, where we talk about our transatlantic cruise that took us from Fort Lauderdale all the way to Europe on the Sun Princess.
And we're so happy that you've joined us as we tell you about the people we meet,
the places we go,
and what happens when we get there.
Thanks so much for watching.